as I have, said before, Will does go and write for other publications. He writes for more than just Conservative Home or, The Critic, or the new Right. But he does, of course, write in times, of course, for the Tory Graph. And he has written one such article very recently, I think is very, very telling, because this is something that has been rumored for quite a while. And we've touched upon quite briefly in other articles. But of course, that is the state of the Tory Party finances. And the finances of the Tory Party are not that good, because during the Boris years, we heard that a lot of donors became quite turned off by Boris and sort of took a bit of a step back, weren't donating, were quite unhappy with his antics. And then of course Liz Truss stepped in, and that scared many of them away even more, and of course more of them to pull their money out even more so. And as a result, many of these big donators haven't returned. Some, of course, have gone to Reform. Not all of them, mind you. Not all of them have gone to Reform. But there's a lot of those big donors that still haven't returned to the Conservative Party. And you have to ask the question, well, where have they gone? Because they haven't gone to Labour. Have they gone to the Lib Dems? Maybe. So it raises a lot of questions about, if you are wanting a comeback, that comeback will cost money. As I've been sitting in the Greens organised group, money is, of course, the eternal, arguing over this. Sure, you can ask people to do things for free, but, well, it's questionable, shall we say, at that rate. But, you have to have the money, you have to have those resources. So there is no question that should be posed. How much money really is there in the Tory Party if they are considering moving their offices, out of central London to someone else? If it's true that, Badenoch has sent an email telling them, hey, you need to, shape up, or, I'm going to have to fire you all, then that's not very good. That is not very good noise for them. And thus, the continuing state of the Conservative Party continues on into its downfall. Downfall indeed. And it is fun to watch. It is very, very fun to watch this, considering the damage that they have done for years to this country, that they are really actually getting a comeuppance, that there is karma coming back to bite them on this. So before we do go on into this, please do remember to click on the like, share, and the subscribe button down below if you are new. And of course, there is the Pony Club down below. There's the Patreon page where you can support me on that. There's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee, or there's the YouTube thank you button down below as well. So let's crack on then into this in the Telegraph. So the Tories may already be too broke for a comeback. Ooh. So compare and contrast. He begins. Last week, Reform UK staged a lavish £1 million fundraising bash. Several ex-Tory donors paid over £25,000 to pop up plans with Nigel. This week, the reports do suggest that the Conservatives are so cash-strapped that Kemi Badenoch may have to sell out the Matthew Parker Street, since they cannot afford its lease. She has told CCHQ staff to either shape up or face the sack. Very big compare and contrast moment there indeed. Very, very big indeed. And bear in mind, I have said this, in politics, money matters. I know there's a lot of people on the left that love to think that it doesn't, or it doesn't play a part, or that you can do stuff without money. But I'm sorry, it does kind of matter. You do need money to do stuff in politics, because campaigning, phone banking, leaflets, flyers, posters, social media stuff costs money. And if you don't have that, then, results may vary. May very, very drastically. Like I say, ask anyone who's ever done an independent run to be an MP or run for a councillor. It costs money. It costs money, and it's not just, of course, the application fee that you have to pay as well. You have to think about how you're going to campaign, what you are going to do on all this stuff. It costs money, and it boggles my mind to see that some people just do not care about the money cost of that. But anyway, Will continues. In the 3 months since Badenoch became Tory leader, Reform have now already taken the party membership and the opinion polls. Again, membership questionable, Will. I would definitely question that. And the opinion polls, well, I would also maybe a bit question those as well. There is, of course, now hope to very much do the same in donations. Elon Musk megabucks may look more distant than they did, of course, pre-Christmas, but a few more Mayfair shindigs will see Farage in the pink very ahead of the local Scottish, Welsh, and elections, where he hopes now to leapfrog the party. Badenoch, of course, plans to tackle the party's empty coffers and enthusiasm deficit. She cannot now ignore the existential threat Nigel Farage now poses. No party has a divine right to exist. The Tories have had a good run for 300 years, but it's time as Britain's now leading party of the right is now finally up, as the enthusiasm, the manpower, and the money heads to Farage. Will the Tories now leave? Will the last Tories please turn the lights out? Very, very dim view of his own party there. Like I say, enthusiasm, manpower, certainly questionable indeed. And of course, we don't know if all those donors that did leave the Tory party have gone to Reform. Some have, but we don't know if they all have. That's for sure. Because if they were so turned off by the way the Tory party became, why then are they going to suddenly go running to Nigel Farage? If they hate the way that the Tory party has become, why are they going to go and join, this even more right-wing party? Right? So, anyway, back to this. Polls do, of course, rise and fall, and the opinionists do point out that the SDP and Liberal Alliance pushed the Tories, of course, into third. Margaret Thatcher still went on to win a landslide majority. This week, of course, marks 50 years since Thatcher beat Ed Heath to the leadership, and Badenoch still has told her shadow cabinet that she models her leadership on hers and a gradual working of policy in private over the next 2 years. Good luck, because Badenoch pretty much says in this that for the next 2 years, her and her party have nothing to say. Good luck. But cosplaying as the Iron Lady is, of course, very self-indulgent. This requires time that Badenoch does not possess. As leader of the opposition, Thatcher did not have a right-wing challenger to push her into third before the 24-hour news and social media cycle. Her MPs had not become habituated now to regicide. Badenoch now is the party's 6th leader in 8 years. Again, spells it out, I think, very, very clearly in black and white what's going on there. Gradually and then suddenly, Ernest Hemingway's formation of how one goes bankrupt well explains the total weight of the Tory plight. They are now at a tipping point. The moment is, of course, with Farage. Third place in the May locals will confirm that. The desertion of voters, members, and donors will then become a flood. One MP will defect, then 2, then 3, then, well, no one's defected yet, at least. Rumors to El Braverman might, but that hasn't come to pass yet. Who knows if we'll get any defections. So, as the ratings, of course, do continue to dip below 20%, Thatcher's heir will have to imitate Ed Davies prattling about on the paddleboards just for a crumb of attention. Remixing, of course, the Tory MPs will now turn with grim familiarity to not only one solution, they know how, to start submitting letters of no confidence. And oh boy, when that starts, that'll be interesting. If Badenoch does want to save her leadership, she will have to follow her own advice to own her staffers and start pulling her finger out. Waving donors of the disillusion, the members must be convinced that she has a plan to actually take the party forward. Bunting Farage's wise will mean showing that she can actually seize the initiative. She must actually prove that her party and her leadership still have life in them. Irrelevance is not inevitable. Well, so far, so spectacularly failed on that front. Anyway, she, of course, must break now from the past. Priti Patel's lame defense of a disastrous immigration record shows how difficult differentiating Badenoch now must be from the last 14 years if she will have to now rely on MPs connected with its mistakes. She might have now sworn off a reshuffle, but she must be promoting some new faces is an absolute must. Again, what new faces? There was, I think, barely any new faces. Most of the new faces got wiped out by Starmageddon. Good luck on that. And then, of course, it's not just promoting new faces. It's, are they talented? Are they capable? I don't think they are. I think it is something that over the past 14 years has gone very, very much unmentioned in the Tory party. Are actually the people we are making MPs good? Are they capable? Are they reliable? And history has shown that is not the case. That is something that has not been even bothered to think about when they were choosing their MPs. Like I say, you look at the current crop now. Brexit was like sort of the final straw. Boris Johnson got rid of the most competent lot of MPs. And many of the others said, well, we're leaving anyway because we don't want to be a part of this anymore. We know what's going to happen. They got while the getting was good. So, anyway, Will finishes off. So, she must now actually try and understand why Farage is proving so popular. He may not have the weight of policy documents, of course, she thinks she needs, but he at least he is clear on his positions and on the issues that matter to voters: immigration, crime, living standards. But again, what is he saying on those issues? That should also matter as well. But Will doesn't care about that. Unlike Badenoch, he has actually something new to say that she doesn't, and it involves now slinging mud at the government or now a fudged apology for his own record. Meanwhile, across the West, right-wing opposition parties are now finding themselves now on the verge of being back in government or being made irrelevant by populist challenges. Badenoch must now actually prove that the Tories can actually be the former, and fast. If not, it won't be the only CCHQ, the lazier employees, soon be receiving their P45s. And I'm interested to see, can we get the comments? I don't think we can. No, we can't. I don't think we can. Oh, that's annoying. But yeah, I said this before. Badenoch is toast. Badenoch is done. She cannot perform. She only really has one setting, and that's culture war talking points. But when she's tried to do that, she's failed. She's come across as weird and cringy, as we saw just a couple of weeks back when she did that speech in Washington. She's got nothing to offer. And if the rumors are true, the Tory party finances are in some pretty dire states, then we need to watch out to see how full a slate they offer at these local elections. Are they only going to, put people in what they would consider to be a surefire win? Or do we even see candidates say, there you go, but that's all you're getting? And it is like a little crumb because they know they're going to lose. Maybe, but this is how parties fall. And I think we are witnessing it. As I said before, this is why I keep on covering the Tory party, because this is what we are generally seeming to look like. We are witnessing a fall of a political party. And in the UK, that happens like very, very rarely. So there you have it. But once again, I'll also say this, ignoring the Lib Dems. Like, everyone ignores the Lib Dems in these conversations. Everyone's, we're worried about Farage. The Lib Dems, hello. I'll tell you now, every single time Ed Davey gets ignored, he just rubs his hands with glee because he knows that's more voters that are going to go and head his way. Ed Davies said it at the conference. His plan is not to win the next election. It is to become the main party of opposition. I think, depending how he plays these next couple of years, he can do that. He could very well do that. He has been given a golden opportunity. If he does do it, it will mean a huge change in British politics. Very, very much so. Meanwhile, of course, Reform and the Conservatives are basically going to be battling out for this right-wing vote that is ever and ever shrinking in the UK. So they are either destined to cannibalize each other, or eventually one will eat the other. Either Reform will eat the Tories, or Tories will eat Reform, and they'll become, I don't know, the new Tories, or new Reform, or Tory Reform, or whatever. But it still won't be enough, because the right wing vote is just constantly shrinking in the UK, and that is something that even columnists like Will seem to ignore quite spectacularly, and I think very foolishly indeed. But there you go. So, as always, let me know what you think down below, and of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.